Alright, so starting out with installation, we'll install it from a clean system. So we'll hold down the Windows button and press R. And in the run window, we'll type in %appdata% and then press enter. And from here, inside of the app data window, I am going to just put an underscore on my Blender Foundation folder. Whenever it comes to Blender at this time, we see that the latest stable release is 2.93.11. However, if we adjust it by version, I'm sure there's actually a later version than that. In fact, we go to Library tab, we see that I have 3.3.1. However, if we look at daily, we see that 3.4.0 is available and 3.5.0 is available. So let us launch 3.4.0 and we will just go ahead and get it installed. From here, we will just set our spacebar to search, theme to deep gray, next, and Shift H to just get rid of everything. I'll press F4 and we'll go over to preferences, and from here, install each tool. So first, we will install Boxcutter. Once enabled, it is good to go. Next, we'll install HardOps. Once enabled, it is also good to go. So before exiting our preferences, we can go down to our operator options and enable Boxcutter notifications, and then save our preferences, and then we could press Alt W to start Boxcutter. And if we were to save our startup file, this is how Blender will start us up. And whenever we click and drag, we are basically able to work using Boxcutter without any issue. And this is for Blender 3.4.0 beta. So if I click on the Blender icon and we bring up About Blender, we see that this is 3.4.0. And with that, we can just close this. So whenever it comes to configuring things for 3.5.0, it's the same thing. However, in order to shorten our work, we are just going to go to the app data location, locate the Blender folder that's just been created. More than likely, we need to reload. And here we are. And inside of the Blender folder, I'm just going to Control-C, Control-V, just to copy and paste the same folder that we just created. And I'm just going to rename this folder to 3.5. So now we have these add-ons enabled and installed for Blender 3.4 and 3.5. So once we launch 3.5, we see that it loads up exactly where I needed it, and we are now good to go. And with that, we see that Boxcutter is complete. In fact, we can run through an auto scroll, and we see that the auto scroll is also working as intended. So to show how I would restore my installation after going through this setup demonstration process, we will first of all close Blender, because normally closing Blender saves your preferences as well. And we're just going to jump back to our roaming folder, and I'm going to delete this Blender Foundation folder that we just created. And the Blender Foundation folder that I put an underscore on, I will remove the underscore and put it back. So now whenever I go to the Blender launcher and I open up Blender 3.4.0, it actually loads up the way that I had it configured. And here I am, now back in business with my default configuration. So with that, we can close this video talking about the installation process for HardOps and Boxcutter inside of Blender 3.5 and Blender 3.4 beta.